Hello, everyone. Today we have a very interesting, very challenging topic, but extremely important, fascinating, especially in the context of education, I think. I'm talking about AI safety, responsible AI. There are many different ways you can title this, but each one of them requires a kind of interpretation, ethical AI. How do we do this AI checks? And for the Moodle, just for all of you, those of you who are logging in and checking the material on Moodle, I'll just also show you how it is framed there. I will add the image. Let me share my screen and show you. So last week we completed our introduction to large language models, LLMs, and now we're starting to discuss the ethical use of AI or responsible use of AI or AI safety, actually, also. So the picture is coming, but the section is ready with all the notes that you need. So I want to walk you through the notes on Moodle. Again, just to show you our Moodle page, AI tools for teaching. We covered thinking with AI, prompting, AI detection tools with Professor Petridis, with Kostas. The last 2 weeks, we discussed large language models, LLMs for teachers. You can access all the recordings and all the list, all the different links to different AI tools and models from this from the Moodle. We will probably also have and lead some sessions actually diving into each tool and discovering what's inside the settings and what each tool offers us educators, but that is coming next. At least you already have a list and you can click individually and start exploring these tools, create your account and see what you get inside. So today we will actually talk about I think the most important topic for education context, which is AI safety. And as Costas interestingly introduced us, we're not experts in this, especially in the field of, safety, data privacy, ethics. We have professors teaching ethics, and we have professors in data privacy and security and all of that. We're definitely,
There is a question, a raised hand by Juma. I don't know. I mean, what is the
yeah, do
question?
you want to post your question in the chat or do you want to
Yeah.
talk?
I'm happy to talk. Happy New Year and
Hello,
thank you
Happy New
for the
Year.
opportunity.
Hello, hello.
Yes, a quick one. I just logged in and there was this long list starting from ChatGPT
Mhm.
going down, and I think it moved so fast before I captured it on camera. Uh,
Yeah.
so then I missed out on what you were saying about them. Would you mind just recapping one more time? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah. So I just logged into the previous section on Moodle called LLMs, large language models. And I showed you a very long list of different LLMs, and not all of these actually are LLMs according to the description we discussed last week. We will be coming back to this list and exploring these tools one by one in the upcoming weeks and months because this is going to be a long project of ours. So you will all be invited to continue to follow and learn with us. So this is a long list of different tools for general use, for education use, and we will be exploring these tools later on. Okay, so not we didn't have any particular training about any particular tool yet. We just discussed in general what they are, how they work, and you have access to the session recordings here from the previous 2 weeks. And we also have a language models teacher's guide in preparation. It's a link, it's an ongoing project, so it's going to be updated. So it's not finalized yet, but I'll keep you informed when it's ready. Now, moving on to responsible use of AI and AI safety. So here is the new section, and we are starting to discuss this today. Again, unfortunately, I have no legal and educational background teaching a like privacy, responsible I don't know, safety, data safety, and all of that. I'm sure that we even have some experts among our audience. We'll be happy to hear from you as well. But let's bring some interesting questions among us, practitioners, higher education teachers, lecturers, professors, assistants, because all of us are using AI already. Students are using AI. And we're not experts in this, ethical, privacy, data security stuff. So my first question actually is what can go wrong? Because,
Elena,
yeah.
sorry, like, what did you mention? In our YouTube channel last year, we had an invited speaker, and we can invite him again in the podcast that we organized from the Groningen University in Netherlands. That he's expert, he worked for EU, and his expertise is ethics in AI. So the participants, they can follow, they can register to the YouTube channel, identify this talk, and
Mhm.
follow. And we are going to invite him again for our podcast.
Excellent. We will add also the link to this particular section so you can find it easier and watch the recording, but it would be great to resume this discussion. Now, I have prepared a list of things that we will dive in today. So, first of all, what can go wrong? What's the problem? What is the issue actually? So what, right? What if my private information gets into an AI tool? What is the problem? You see, we live in an age of the internet, social media, people share things about themselves, right? And things can go really dangerous and things can go wrong online. We know that. But I wanted actually to maybe raise this discussion and see what you think and what you think may actually go wrong in higher education. And I have prepared a long list of all kinds of risks and examples of why we need to care, right? What can go wrong with different situations. So I've identified some risks of AI use in higher education. I have prepared a list of real dangers of AI use and how things can go wrong. I also prepared a faculty AI safety checklist for us to discuss, to go through, to tweak and everything. I have some real classroom scenarios for us to discuss. So what if we do something? And while preparing all of this, I actually relied on my own experience, and I think I violated some of the real important rules that we need to be aware of. And I don't think I'm alone here violating rules. I don't want to violate anything, but maybe me feeling open to trying different tools and exposing my data to AI is not the same as other people's values and concerns. So we actually need to start thinking differently, open our minds, and imagine that some people don't want to have their data online actually. So as teachers, we have to be really careful of how we treat our communication with AI, how we treat our student data, how we treat our research, data and all of that. And you know what? I wanted to take this to the extreme case and see, okay, what if I don't think about any of that and just use AI freely and I'm not concerned about safety. I don't care. I mean, I'm an open person. I want everyone to have access to all of my data, all of my stories and everything I share with AI. So what can actually go wrong? So I will present a list of things that can go wrong, and then we'll discuss what does the responsible version of AI use actually look like. So before we dive into these actual use cases and examples, I'll show you two amazing resources I have found in all kinds of forums of higher education professors all over around the world. The first tool is called Terms of Service Didn't Read. And I think it's very, very informative, and it's a very good example of how most of the people actually behave. I'm sure not everyone does that, but well, we can even have a little poll right now. The example that we can see now on the screen is that I have read and agreed to the terms is the biggest lie on the web, because people click on this button day after day, tool after tool. 100% all of us have clicked on it many, many times, but honestly, the data we don't actually read these documents, right? These are very, very long.
You're muted.
Sorry. So we don't really read these documents. We don't really read these contracts. So together we can fix this. I want you to go and explore this. You know what? Not this one. We'll come back to it in a second. I want to give you another link and give you a few moments to actually click on it and look at it, and then we will discuss it. So here's the link. Okay. I need to disconnect for 2 minutes. I have an emergency with my son and I'll be right back. So the link is in the chat. I want you to open it. So 2 minutes. And Costas, you can lead it for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So I think this is a link that I think that provides all the instructions about privacy and safety checks, depending on the tool that you are using. So, so probably we can play around and, click if this is possible. All right, I can see to view this copy on the license visit, the links that they exist.
It is possible to click on the link,
Yes.
the
So yes.
privacy and safety information.
Yeah, and so if you click one of the links, you can see over there the privacy and safety checks of each one of the tools. And you can see also the questions that they are placing in order to check the security level. So if you click one of them, I just click what did I click? Which tool did I click? One of them, the character AI. So you can see, the questions and the answers regarding, the level of safety. For example, I can see on my screen questions like, are the private policies for the specific product so made publicly available? And you can see, the answer, yes, privacy policies are available. So, I mean, you can, from the question and the answers, you can see how you can use these tools and leverage them. So let me share my screen because I don't know if I can. No, I cannot share my screen since she has left and she's the coordinator. But if you go to the data sharing, which is something that all these tools contain, you can see also how you can share this data. For example, I can see a question in the data sharing. Do the policies clearly indicate what categories of information are shared with the third parties? And you can see the answer, in the tool that I'm checking. Transparent.
Sorry, I'm back.
All right. Okay. Good.
I can take it on from here. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Stas, and I apologize. Okay, so back to this little tool. I just wanted to show you that I don't know how many of you read terms of service carefully before you agree to terms and privacy when you sign up. But actually, when we look at these big websites like Facebook, it got grade E. Some of the websites have a higher grade and they have like green lights or even yellow for some kind of different questions and criteria. The reason, for example, Facebook is red is because Facebook stores your data whether you have an account or not. The service can read your private messages. The service can view your browser history, and deleted content is not really deleted. And this is probably identified through the documents that we agree, right? Actually, not knowing what we agree to, as YouTube also turns out to be quite dangerous because this service can view your browser history. Deleted videos are not really deleted, and there are many other interesting warning, signs of how our online presence or the apps that we sign up can actually use the data without us actually knowing that it's been used like that. Another example is PayPal. I don't know what that means, but it says you waived your moral rights. I don't know if that is the terms of service we actually agree when we sign with PayPal. This service still tracks you even when you opted out from tracking, and this service holds on to content that you have deleted. Does it mean that I will not use PayPal? Personally, no. I mean, I am linked to PayPal and I use it all the time. YouTube, we use it for educational purposes as well, like different channels, educational video, dissemination. Facebook is important. LinkedIn is important. I actually searched for ChatGPT. Do you think ChatGPT got a green, yellow, or red? Let me ask you first before I show you the results. Put it in the chat. We're just trying to guess. Is it going to be green, yellow, or red? Will it get a good grade? Safe and secure, yellow, red, and it doesn't mean that it's safe. It's just how transparent are their terms and conditions, and what are we signing up for without reading that, obviously.
But you know about ChatGPT, Elena, this depends on the settings that you set, because there is a setting in your page.
Yeah, I will show it later. It's on the schedule today.
So
But
I mean,
in terms of terms and conditions, like what are we signing up? So ChatGPT, let me show you. And we have both yellow and red and green. Some of you think it's red, some of you think it's yellow. OpenAI, it's actually D, so it's grade D. It's orange. None of you are right. It is orange. It's not red, but the reason for that is because the personal data is used for automated decision making and profiling or AI training. Again, this can be discontinued. This can be turned off, but we don't know when we actually choose to turn it off whether it does what we're asking. That's what I'm questioning, to be honest. Right? It's like some other big platforms, as this website shows us. Let me show you again. They kind of keep tracking you even when you opt out, right? So it sounds like really dodgy, right? Back to ChatGPT, this service may collect use data to share location data. Some personal data may be kept for business interests or legal obligations, and you waive your rights to a class action. Lots and lots of like yellow, borderline statements that we sign up when we agree to their terms and conditions. There are also some good signs with ChatGPT. Your personal data is not sold, at least that. 30 days of notice are given before closing your account. You have the right to leave the service at any time. Details are provided about what kind of information they collect. Okay, so this is kind of okay, green. And there are also gray statements. So those of you who want to read in detail things that you have agreed on in the terms of service with OpenAI, here's the link, okay? And now back to the other link that I showed you before, little thing that I needed to disconnect. So this has been created by Professor Sarah Wood, and this is a very thorough project. I mean, I'm sharing this because it's Creative Commons. So basically, according to rights and privacy and IP, right, intellectual property, I guess the academic, this professor, has created this amazing database of resources where she analyzed the privacy and safety, documents associated with each and every tool that she has analyzed. And maybe she has a team, I don't know. But not only we're going to look at the terms of service, she also analyzed by appropriateness of the age. Like if some of you are not only working in higher education context, we might also in the future have educators from K-12, right, from school education. So different AI tools may have different restrictions in terms of age, appropriateness of use, and also there is a question of environmental impact. So I guess Kostas was reading how the scores were determined. Did you read this together? No.
I read, I found an example and I explained very briefly what is about this data set.
So how the scores were determined, because each and every tool here has a score now, some kind of score. Let's understand what this score is about. So the scores were determined for each of these tools based on published privacy policies, terms of service, and other related publicly available information. So all of these documents were put in Notebook LM. We'll have a session about Notebook LM in the future as well. And they used as common sense media evaluation framework, which is a set of questions, a comprehensive set of questions. The full set of questions is 155 points, and there are also 30 basic questions, like a shorter version. And then they evaluated each tool based on these questions, right? This basically, just looking at this list, you already have a very, I initially saved the link to this source because I was excited to see someone actually organize all the different tools and platforms into categories in a very nice visual way. So we can see that in the yellow column, we have AI assistants, actual LLMs. We already know what LLMs stand for, right? So we have a list of LLMs, and each one of them perhaps has a link now with a full score and a pass or red flag. We also, when we go to Notebook LM, for example, we have all these questions actually written here, and we have the answer. We have the transparency answer identified for each and every question. So we have assessment section, transparency section for each tool, right? Focused collection. For example, do the policies clearly indicate whether or not the vendor collects personally identifiable information? And the answer is red because it actually collects personally identifiable information, okay? And we're talking about Notebook LM, okay? Do the policies clearly indicate what categories of personally identifiable information are collected by the product? And it is transparent. Yes, the categories of collected personally identifiable information are indicated, and this is how we know. So another point here, I'll show you, I hope you know how to work in Excel sheet, but you have this menu on the side, so you can always go back to the main page by clicking on the landing page. So the landing page is the front page, right? Where the author organized all the different tools by their category, whether they're teaching aiders or learning aiders or general AI tools, creative aids, assistants, which is LLMs, productivity aids, or miscellaneous. And so these tools were, what is nice here, each question from the full and basic list of questions was asked to return an answer from the list of statements. So this is how they actually graded these tools on a scale, analyzing a very long list of very detailed questions about privacy, privacy policy in terms of service. And then what else they did contact some vendors. They actually contacted companies. So each vendor was contacted to verify the results found, and some declined or didn't respond. So with some alarming scores, they actually contacted companies and tried to find the answers that maybe were not clear from their policies and terms of service. So some of those tools are going to be approved by the author because they personally communicated with the company and elicited the information they needed for this verification. So I can already show you that, for example, Magic School and Brisk, we'll also discuss Brisk, have been verified. The meaning of verified is that the author of this research, I would call it a research because it's a huge project, just analyzing each and every tool with so many questions, with all this documentation. It's a massive, piece of, it's incredible, this Excel, and I'm sharing this with all of you to also explore. So they also talked to Brisk teaching team, and they found the answers that they needed, and that's the reason some of the scores are the best scores, 100% best in terms of transparency. You see, in terms of transparency, all green, lots and lots of do the policies clearly indicate the version and effective date of the policies? Maybe when it comes to data sharing, do the policies clearly indicate if collected information is shared with third parties? And the answer is transparent. But the problem that it's in red is because collected information is shared with third parties. It means that your data is stored and collected and somehow sits somewhere on the servers either of this company, or if it's shared with third parties, it means that they are not actually LLM, they're just a platform working with different LLMs. So they send your data to those different LLMs, and the data will be stored inside OpenAI, inside Anthropic, inside different LLMs. So this is the meaning. And this is how we know, like basically, it's not an easy path and not an easy task to identify all those risks and see what actually how these tools work, and how you see that's the reason the score for data sharing is good only. It's 68%, not the best in the category. I don't know if there are green marked tools at all in the category of AI tools. But I think it's very interesting to actually look at these different questions, and you see individual.
Elena, who has dictated these questions? Is these questions generated by this
So the
particular project, or is like some policy?
So there is a link to the Common Sense Media's evaluation framework. So there is like a framework.
Okay, all right, okay, thank
To the
you.
website and see and find all these questions. And all the questions you can see at the bottom menu, you have all these tools, and all of these questions are actually listed. So you can also access these tools from this side menu. So we can just scroll down and find, I don't know, Gemini, for example, and ChatGPT. So Gemini has warning scores for many reasons, and we can find out why, because of, all these questions have been analyzed, and some of the things written in the terms of service and privacy statements are either not transparent or transparent, and they actively state that they use your data like somehow in a way that you don't want to be used in education, and so on and so forth. So another interesting way you can utilize this wonderful database of AI tools is by usage breakdown by grade level. So here you can see which tools are appropriate for adults only. If you work in a school context, especially, you can see whether it's green light. Yes, it's good for educators. So educators basically is us teachers, right? And adults. So most of these tools are okay for educational use, but there are some that need to be used with caution. And they are marked here. So DeepSeek needs to be, like, I'm just looking at the names I know. Claude, which is Anthropic AI, needs to be used with caution. HeyGen, Ideogram, these are tools I actually teach in my AI tools courses. And you see, I need to actually know that they need to be used with caution by me. And of course, I need to mention it to my students as well. Otter AI, Perplexity, Meta, School AI, needs to be used with caution. And this is shocking because I've been using School AI a lot. There I have student bots that I actually tested with my students. Quillbot, Poe. I don't know if you have tried creating your own bots. I think you even mentioned that you know what the tool is about. So it needs to be used with caution. Why? We can click on it perhaps and see why. When you click on the link of Poe, you just click on it. It opens a full report on the tool. Poe.com. It says it gives you the basic score. Is this safe for educators or to use for personal, professional, or modeling the classroom? You need to do it with caution. It is not safe for elementary or middle school. It may be used in high school and higher education context, again, with caution. And why with caution? Probably we need to go ahead and read why. So maybe before we go ahead and use some of these tools that I have already used with my students, maybe we actually need to explore this document and see and look for some red flags, like, why is it not safe? Behavioral data are collected, sensitive data are collected, and apparently non-personally identifiable information is collected, so personally identifiable is collected. So lots of red warning flags. Again, after looking at all of this is overwhelming. It's a lot of information, even for me, even though I know most of these tools and I have tested and I can imagine for you, some of you, it's probably like, what is this thing? Like an encyclopedia. Let's read an encyclopedia in 5 minutes. No, it's impossible, right? So it is a massive project, I guess, with a lot of information. The question is, what does that actually mean for us again, right? I'll return to my first question. And I actually had a very heated discussion with several AI tools, with several AI agents, because I wanted to find this dangerous. I wanted some ideas, like what can happen, what can go wrong. So what? Okay, so they know my name, they know my maybe they can discover my password somehow. So what can happen, right? What can go wrong? And here is the list that I will share with you that relates to this today's session, right? So today's January 5th, 2026. You have access to this document, to the session notes from our Moodle. I can also drop the link in the chat if you want to share this, take a look at this document with me. So the way I've structured it, it's a hyperlink. So when you click on these different titles, you will be taken to the right place in the document, and then you can come back. So when it comes to responsible AI use, privacy and safety checks of different tools, right? First of all, we are here not to say, don't use the internet, don't use social media, don't use AI, because we actually are the active users. Kostas and I, we're very curious and interested to see how higher education can actually benefit from these tools, right? So we're not about banning tools, we're not about banning practices, but we want to, today we want to discuss how to make some invisible risks visible. So I think this is important because some of the risks we don't even realize, we never think about it before we and our students pay the price. So let's find out what these risks are. Let's first of all take a look at some risks. So I have asked AI what can actually go wrong with personal data. So what, right? A privacy risk is not about someone reading one reflection. I said, okay, what if I share my student's essay and there is some kind of reflection? So what? Okay, so someone steals my student essay. What can go wrong? Come on, this is not a risk. And like I'm challenging AI, and AI explained it to me. It's not about reading somebody's reflection or like identifying somebody's name. It's about aggregation. Aggregation means collecting a lot of data. It's about reuse. It's about loss of control, because once we disclose this information, it is not in our control anymore. And also unintended audiences. And when we talk about unintended audiences, both Kostas and I, we are very positive people. We are very optimistic, and we think, world around us is kind and honest, but this world is full of danger, apparently, and risk, and people steal identities. There is a lot of fraud going on with AI, and it is very, very hard, if not impossible, to control it. There are deep fakes. I don't know if you're familiar with the term. Deep fake is when your identity, your visual, right, your image, your actual, body is stolen and, posted on an internet doing something that is not even true, but it looks very real, 100% you. Your voice can be stolen, your looks can be stolen, your thoughts can be stolen. And it's not even talking about credit card information and ways of thinking, but the way people and mean people actually and criminals thrive and make business out of it. There are lots of cases. I don't know if you heard about this, but an old lady can get a phone call, and grandma or a grandpa can get a phone call from his grandson or granddaughter actually talking to them and saying, grandma, or dad or mom. Like, it can be anyone from your family or your friend, your close people, actually calling you and asking you for help and asking you to give your like a credit card or something, and you will never suspect that this is AI or this is fraud. But this technology is so advanced these days. And the reason it has this functionality is partially because of AI and because of privacy. So AI and these frauds now can really use people's really private stories and voice and tone of voice and everything for criminal activity, technically, right? And people are, all kinds of things can happen. So I'm not even talking about identity theft, I'm talking about persona theft, okay? So this might happen. This is why we have to be careful with personal data. So what it is, it's not stealing your passport or credit card, even though this might happen too, right? This tool is if you share credit card information, those of you who are not careful, this can happen. But actually reconstructing who you are, right? Now AI can actually reconstruct you, how you think, what you value, what you struggle with, and how you communicate. So how AI enables it, repeated prompts create a coherent persona profile with writing style, tone, beliefs, ambitions, everything. And this might lead to targeted manipulation, high credibility impersonalization, right? Impersonation, and social engineering. And social engineering, if you don't know what that is, it's actually the most common real world misuse is when a persona or student task leaks again. The attackers know your role, they know your discipline, they know your concerns, and the scam becomes really personalized and believable. It becomes so believable you can't really crack it. You can't even think that it is not true, right? So someone doesn't need your ID number if they can convincingly be you. And I think it's creepy, but I think this is the world we are living in today, or it's the beginning of like really, really alarming changes that AI enables, right? Criminals to actually do. They can be anyone, right? You can actually take the persona. You probably all have seen these, videos of deep fakes of famous people, behaving in different ways using AI, but it also actually entered the private lives of like not famous people, right? As I said, relatives can get a phone call from their dear ones, and they sound like their dear ones. They have very kind of secure and private requests because somehow those criminals know what to ask for and how to sound, and all of it is fake. So this is social engineering. This is targeted scams, right? So this might happen. This is something I've seen in movies. Okay, I said, okay, maybe, because I wasn't convinced that, being careful on with AI is so important. I wasn't convinced. I said, what's the problem? What's the question? But yeah, now that I connected some dots, I've seen these movies, I've heard about these different cases. I even was a victim once. My students called me and said, Yelena, do you need help? We got an email that you're in London and you are stuck and you need some money to get, out of this situation. We want to help you. Some of my students at Western Galilee College, they are policemen, and they called me to help me. And I said, no, I'm fine. What are you talking about? So my email was hacked, and they received, scam emails asking for help and asking for money from my students. This actually happened to me. Thank God they didn't be like they actually called to check on me. Costas, remember I received an email from you. It wasn't you, but the email actually sounded so like real. Like, Elena, we have this project. We need your details, bank details to transfer the money for something. And this is weird. At least I know your style. They didn't sound Greek enough. So I cracked the scammers, but
So the Greek style is like cybersecurity measure.
yeah, yeah. But you see, these things happen to common people. It happened to maybe all of us here already. This is crazy, right? So I see some interesting comments in the chat. So what is the next risk? Contextual re-identification. What it means here is even when you think, okay, I'll be careful, I will not share my student privacy and information and their names, right? I will remove their emails, remove their names, and just share the essays, and we'll have AI help me, grade their final assignments without their names mentioned. So apparently this is still not very secure because anonymous is often an illusion, okay? What happens even without names, some specific life stories, some unique projects, cultural demographic markers, they can, be identifiable and then become obvious to the wrong audience. Again, we're talking about criminal and really intentional misuse, right? Those who are intentionally trying to fish to find this information. So why this matters in education, we have to remember that our classes sometimes are very small, and the reflections of the students are personal, and we have to value this and respect this. And teachers know the context, right? So privacy breaches don't require the whole internet. Sometimes one informed reader is enough. Another important concern and risk is loss of consent. Okay, again, delegated disclosure. What it means is that consent is saying yes, right? For those who don't know the word. So this is a core ethical privacy issue. What happens? Teacher uploads student work. Student never agreed to third-party processing, right? So there is no meaningful opt-out. Students are not asked whether they agree for their work to be processed by AI. And I don't know how many of us here have been can be charged guilty with this behavior. I honestly, I test AI all the time, so I have to be honest. I took some of my students' submitted work and analyzed it with AI, and now I know I have to ask for their permission, actually, for kind of, I don't know, written consent, perhaps, because if I don't ask, they have no way to know. And especially if I turn off this privacy thing in ChatGPT, then it means that everything I upload into my ChatGPT goes to the company, and sometimes it is even used to train large language model data. So let me show you this little thing here because it is important. So Kostas mentioned that ChatGPT has this function where you go into your settings. This is important that every one of us have to check. Forget about personalization, that we can actually ask for ChatGPT to sound professional or friendly or direct and encouraging or quirky or efficient, blah, blah, blah. We can have all these personalized styles. So this is pretty new. Forget about, even, I don't know, notification settings, parental controls, because again, my kids are 14, 10, and 3. The 3-year-old is not using ChatGPT yet, but the other two are becoming heavy users because our kids today, they don't Google anymore. They talk to artificial intelligence. So maybe I should actually explore as a responsible parent these parental controls. This is something on my to-do list. Let me just show you quickly the data controls that every one of us by default, actually, you don't even probably know it. I hope you do again, but those who don't, you have to be aware that you have the control to go into your settings and turn off the automatic consent that you actually agreed. You didn't know that, but you agreed all of your data, everything you share in ChatGPT, everything you write in your prompt, all the articles you upload, all the student work or whatever you upload, exams that you're working on your upload, they are actually being used to improve the model for everyone. It means that you actually allow your content to be used to train our models, their models, OpenAI models, which makes ChatGPT better for you and everyone who uses it. We take steps to protect your privacy. Let's read what it means. Because again, this is something that is turned on automatically for all of us when we sign up to this tool. You can even say, I agree for my audio recordings to be used for training and my video recordings to be used for training. I don't know who would use that. But again, as an AI enthusiast, I always thought, why not? I'm happy to provide my, human inputs and train AI to be better. Why not? Now that I'm thinking about it again, sharing my students' data without their consent is very irresponsible. So I should definitely turn this off and not allow these models to be trained on my data, on things that I upload. Plus, I see that you're trying to draw something. I will clear your drawings. Let's take a look at what it means that they take steps to protect our privacy. Let's see what it means. They say on OpenAI, again, one of the objectives of this session is to actually take the time to do something we never do, right? We never took the 1 hour and read and explain what it means, how your data is used to improve model performance. So if you didn't turn this off, this has been on and it's been updated just 1 hour ago. You see, they're keeping updating these things, so it's important to check it, here and there. So how your data is used to improve model performance, learn more about how AI uses content from our services to improve and train our models. Data retention for certain services may be affected by recent legal developments. So one of the most useful and promising features of AI models is that they can improve over time. We know that. We continuously improve our models through research breakthroughs as well as exposure to real-world problems and data. And the real-world problems and data is us users asking ChatGPT, writing the prompts, uploading the, different things, writing samples and articles and whatnot, sometimes even our own research data. When you share your content with us, it helps our models become more accurate and better at solving your specific problems. And it also helps improve their general capabilities and safety. We do not use your content to market our services or create advertising profiles for you or of you. We use it to make our models more helpful. ChatGPT, for instance, improves by further training on the conversations people have with it, unless you opt out. So I think as a responsible educator, you have to opt out. And there is even a solution to the problem. You see, loss of consent means exactly that. Students do not give us their consent to share information with AI, and when we do it without their consent, and they have no meaningful opt-out.
Elena, can I add something on this?
Yes, please. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for us, as faculty members in various universities, probably, there is a question, as Elena has mentioned, if we are not sharing, the system is not getting better for our future use. However, as Elena mentioned, this is like very clear regarding sharing students' essays. However, if you would like to limit as well, the exposure of the training of the system without sharing something on public, as Elena mentioned, you can set up your settings in order to not share your data. However, you can use ChatGPT as a personalized pod. You can follow the instructions of Elena through the data controls, and you can upload the material that you would like your pod to be trained and speak with you if you would like something specific. For example,
you can also do a temporary chat, which means that the conversation will not be saved. But again,
anyhow, I mean, the safest is like what did you show to us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something that you can upload, for example, a collection of your papers, collection of papers that, I mean, all of us were collecting in order to learn something new. You can switch off, what Elena has mentioned, and you can create your personalized spot for your student and for yourself in order to train and, interact. I mean, this is like, my personal perspective on this, continuously what Elena has mentioned in order to skip. I mean, you can train as you want the pod in order, to interact and also protect, do not be exposure on the public. I mean, if this is like something that we can control.
That's correct. And I, in the following example, I will also show you that there is another strategy. Apparently, when you start using AI, you have to probably think of creating different accounts for different use cases. So when you use AI for work as an educator, you definitely have to go into settings, turn everything off, make everything as secure as you probably can. And then if you want to use AI also for private use, and you honestly, you know that you're not sharing other people's information and projects and ideas and articles, and you want AI to take your language and be trained on it, then you have to create a separate account for personal use where you decide only for yourself, not for others. So, right? This is important. You cannot decide for others whether their content, their intellectual property IP has been uploaded to the AI that is using it for its training, right? So this is illegal. This is not responsible use of AI. Why it's a privacy violation? Because even when you think the data is harmless, right, the decision was taken away from the student or from the person, from the author of the article. This is illegal, right? We have to remember that there are also copyright issues. We have to be careful with uploading articles, copyright protected articles on AI. So you kind of assume that they don't mind, but you never collected their, you see, the consent was assumed, not granted. It means that students did not give you permission to use the writing with your AI tool to check and analyze it. Privacy is about who decides, not just who sees the work. The next risk, the next problem is that function creep, which means the data may be reused for purposes never intended. So this is what we just discussed, right? Reflections used to improve the model, prompts logged for safety, conversations stored temporarily or indefinitely. We sometimes remove data, delete data, but it's not actually deleted. It's deleted for us. We don't see it anymore, but it is still stored there on their servers. We have to be aware of it. Data moves from educational context to technical training context, and this is without even students knowing that. That's a breach of, that's a violation. Permanent memory of temporary thoughts, that's another concern and risk, because when you share, for example, your lecture notes with AI, with a tool, with an open tool like ChatGPT, which can train itself on your data, you take your lecture notes with all the different students' comments and expression, and AI turns this ephemeral thinking into persistent records, which means that classroom talk is not temporary anymore, right? It is recorded online. The drafts are provisional, reflexes are contextual, and this is a risk. Thoughts meant for one moment suddenly gain long-term existence, and this might be the future long-term risk for those students who probably didn't want to be exposed like that, and the AI already is trained on their thoughts and expression during class. So this needs to be really monitored, especially in even lessons on Zoom, right? You have to be careful how you record your session notes. Reputation, future harm. So rare but serious, right? Old reflections may resurface, personal struggles misinterpreted, opinions frozen outside context, which means sometimes students say something in class, but their thinking is being developed and maybe they change their mind. And in a few years, if someone wants to find this, opinion expressed in the university context, they might use it against them. And it's especially risky for marginalized students, for political minorities, for international students, early career academics. So all those marginalized and special, like kind of populations we want to protect actually and empower, right? They may be endangered by our use of AI, so we have to be really, really careful. Privacy protects people from being judged outside time and context, so it's very, very important that if we have these open conversations in class, they're not recorded, they're not analyzed by AI, and they're not identifiable, but who said what, right? We want these honest conversations. We want higher education to be a place for safety and of expression and secure and safe space. But if we use AI on a daily and it's sometimes we don't know, because it's not only the teacher use of AI. Sometimes students have their phones and AI agents become just the norm. We know that even Facebook listens to us without our consent or knowledge, and it's obvious because sometimes I speak to my husband about something and in 5 minutes I see an ad on Facebook just about that destination that we just discussed. It's crazy. So this might also happen in the classroom, and we have to learn about this technology. I have a long list of risks. I think we will continue next time. I want to conclude with some key insights. AI privacy risk is not about one essay being leaked, right? It's about creating persistent, aggregatable, reusable human profiles, often without consent again. And when it comes to when we compare AI, I said, okay, AI tools, ChatGPT and all those, okay, I'm using them for education. I think they're less harmful and less risky than social media. What about social media? People post about themselves all the time and all of that. So what AI explained to me is that social media exposes what we choose to share. It's kind of a little bit more like ownership, right? When you post on social media, some people don't post, don't have a social media profile and don't want to have it. With AI, when we don't say that we actually use their data, their thoughts, their comments, maybe they don't even have a social media profile. They want to stay private and, they concern. So social media is the place where you choose to expose yourself, to share what you want to share. AI systems expose what we never meant to share by connecting it all together. And this is dangerous, right? And this may be risky. So what I skipped would be normalization of oversharing, because it's the quietest risk, right? Because mind boundaries erode, it is just text, becomes the norm. We upload student work, it becomes a routine, normal kind of way of doing things in higher education, and should not happen. We have to be really, really careful, because once it's normalized, safeguards disappear, consent is forgotten, risks scale silently, right? What about power imbalance simplification? Privacy harm is unequal also. Students are more vulnerable than us because they didn't choose the tool, because they can't really meaningfully refuse, and they bear consequences longer than faculty. So what feels harmless to a teacher may actually feel very, very dangerous to our students, and we have to be aware of this and respect them. And there are lots of other things I wanted to share with you, and I will maybe, if we agree, to continue this conversation, because I have created another list of real dangers for AI use in higher education.
I think, Elena, they can do. I mean, this is like uploaded into the Moodle, am I right? So they are faculties. We are all faculties. They can go and they can read it. The most important thing is like we need to know all these risks in order to know how we should use any AI tool or LLM. So I don't think so that we need to come back, but it's up to you to continue. I mean, you gave the message. I think that the message was very clear. You need to be very careful on how to use the things. I mean, it's like a car. If you use a car, drive, a Fiat Panda with 200 kilometers, where you are going to be killed. Even with Ferrari, you can be killed. I mean, these are, the manual, and this was very clear. This is my opinion.
Yeah. I can then just maybe add a few points that I haven't mentioned yet, is when it comes to trust. We are the human, like, trustworthy person in the room when it comes to us communicating with students. So we have to be, again, very, very careful of how we use AI, because when we take AI's output and present it to students as something trustworthy and reliable, they trust it 100%, right? They don't know if AI is reliable, but they trust us because we are experts in their eyes. So we have to be really, really careful, never present to students something that was generated by AI without our own expert control. And also we should be really careful of how we recommend different tools, because when we just say to students, okay, use ChatGPT for that, or you can use that tool, they actually take our recommendations very, very seriously again. And we cannot recommend tools before we actually know all it's dangerous. And so once we throw things like that, like you can use this tool or that tool, we also have to open this conversation about the risks, right? And all of this, because they would not go and read terms of service and privacy.
And also, Elena, this shows how important it is for each of the universities to have regulations on how to use AI. This cannot be just, one teacher work in order to identify all these tools. I think that this is very important institutionally to create these manuals and these rules on how to use AI, which tools we can use. And this is a process as your process, it's like continuously developed and continuously updated. And this is the strange thing. Even students, they know how to use AI tools, and a lot of us, we don't know these regulations. And these regulations should be institutionally and should not depend on each one of us or on each of the students. And this is like very, very important.
Yeah.
A
So the
message
next
from me.
section of this manual that I created for the ethical use of AI is the faculty AI safety checklist. And here you have some questions to ask yourself. When it comes to this, use this checklist before, during, and after using any AI tool in your courses. Think about the purpose and pedagogy. Why am I using AI here? What is the learning problem that does it solve, right? Does AI support learning or replace thinking? I want students to practice. And would this activity still make pedagogical sense without AI? And the red flag would be using AI only for speed and convenience. You should avoid that. Again, questions related to student data and privacy. We discussed that. Am I uploading any student work, names? All of this should be really, really avoided. Consent and transparency. Do students know when and how AI is being used by me or them? Do they know how they can use it? Do we actually discuss this? Is AI use optional or other alternatives? Have expectations about AI use and disclosure being clearly stated, right? Human oversight and accountability. Am I reviewing all AI outputs before sharing them with my students? Accuracy and hallucinations, bias, fairness, inclusion, academic integrity, student well-being and power dynamics. So you have some really, really good questions that you can ask yourselves for responsible AI use. And responsible AI use means using tools in ways that protect students, preserve academic judgment, and make learning, not efficiency, the priority, right? We want the learning to be the priority, not efficiency. Then maybe in the future, we'll go back to some of these interesting scenarios, because I prepared a list of many interesting scenarios of what can go wrong. And you can see the context, what goes wrong, and why this is unsafe. And finally, I'll just go back to top because we're running out of time. After the real classroom scenarios, you have also the section called "What does a responsible version of AI use actually look like?" And then some 5 things, right? Across all scenarios, responsible AI used by teachers usually means 5 things at once. Intentionality, not convenience driven. So you need to be really intentional and think why you're using AI. Why is it better than your old teaching methods? Data minimization, sharing the minimum data necessary. Human accountability stays with the teacher, transparency with the students. They have to know when AI is used and how it affects learning and what is allowed, what is not allowed, equity and inclusion. And the responsible version of AI use is one where, again, efficiency never overrides consent, fairness, transparency, and human judgment. So I think, yeah, this is the end. You have also this back to talk button that I created, like a back and forth clicks. Finally, there are ways to actually download large language model on your computer. And there is a tool, this is open source LLMs and open source software that you can download on your computer. This looks like chatbot. It says Chatbox AI, so it's a free program that connects to the large language models that you download on your computer, and then you are offline. So everything you do with this LLM is stored on your personal device. It doesn't mean that you can now do whatever you want. You still have to be careful. Even when you use it for your research, you have to protect your device, your data. It still can be leaked and stolen. So you have to be careful. So you have these tutorials how to install LLM and Chatbox on your computer. And we have covered this personalization data controls. This is how I showed you inside ChatGPT how you can turn off the training option. So I will just click on this. I'll tick the boxes, meaning that we have explored this link. We have discussed this Excel with many different tools. I've shown you how to turn off training option in your ChatGPT, and we have also gone through all of these sections. And now I will stop sharing my screen. You can access it on Moodle. Thank you. And
Thank you, Elena. Very, very, very useful, what did you teach us today?
Thank you very much for all your comments. Thank you for evaluation and thank you for your feedback. And I'm gonna read the comments, lots and lots of comments. I couldn't respond.
I had tried to respond to some of them during your lecture, but I think that today it was like very important message, for all of us and for the institutions as well.
Exactly.
And I don't know how fast they are going to react, since this is a continuously developing technology and era, but very fast developing. So I think that, I think it was Raymond from Uganda, I think, Uganda, that he
I think
mentioned that this is continuously processed.
the question about ChatGPT being paid or free, the option that I showed you in the settings is a free account. It's
Okay,
not paid
excellent.
ChatGPT. I opened the free account that everyone has this option to turn off your consent for your ChatGPT to be trained on your data, on your everything you share. So you have to go into your settings. It's in the free account as well, not a paid one. Any other questions that I can address? Thank you very much. Thank you and again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week in 7 days, Monday.
Yes, and don't forget, I will update, the exit slip that we have in order to add more questions. I will update it today with the extra lectures that we had from Elena. Don't
Thank you
forget
so
to place your questions there.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
And can we, for
Bye.
example, complete these forms for previous sessions if I watch them?
Yes, you can
And
do
is
this.
it the same form or is it like different form for every single meeting?
It's the same form, but we update it with the new lectures that they are coming from. So, I mean, you can fill it, whenever you want, as many times you wish.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, and Happy New Year. See you in a
Happy
week.
New
Bye.
Year. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.